Hello and welcome to today's episode of Focus Atlanta. I'm your host, Keisha Lancelin. Thanks so much for tuning in with us this morning. In this week's episode, we'll discuss ways to achieve financial freedom. We are invited to experience taste with Meals on Wheels. We'll learn how the buddy system can help children understand finances, and we'll begin discussing the rising cost of elder care. I'm here with Corey Mooberry.
Hi, thanks for having me on today. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for making time for us. It's one of those things that everyone is going to go through, but none of us really think about it, talk about it before it's happening, right? So let's start at the beginning. What is Care Scout?
Yeah, so Care Scout, we are actually a subsidiary of Genworth Financial, but we started to really be an agency on aging. People think of the name Care Scout, we want them to think about organization and a company that is helping people through that entire aging journey, whether that's funding their care, finding quality care, or helping families navigate that care journey from start to end.
Do we have a gauge, or could you give us a gauge of how we're doing here in Georgia in terms of taking care of our seniors?
Yeah. Georgia is actually doing a very good job. But the thing that I want to bring to your attention is just the rising cost of being able to do such a good job. Georgia ranks in the top 10 of where we see costs increasing for these certain caregiving centers and caregiving opportunities. So, your nursing homes, your private and your semi-private rooms, those are well over $100,000 a year. And even assisted living facilities, you're looking at, well over 60,000. The nice thing though is your adult daycare centers, those are averaging about $25,000 a year. Now, those are still significant costs though for people. And, even though those numbers have leveled off in this past year a little bit, I mean, coming to somebody, especially who's somebody in their retirement years and saying, that your cost is potentially going to be $100,000 a year, that that's significant. And so what we really want to do is start trying to let families have these conversations earlier, because these are types of conversations that give people choices. And we all like choices. We like choices in everything that we're able to do. And long-term care is no different. Where do you want to receive your care? Who do you want to receive it from? How much do you want your family involved? And then of course, how are we going to have the funds to pay for the level of care that we want? So being able to have choices requires planning though. And this is where we want people to start having these conversations, mapping out what their care journey and their plan looks like, and sharing that with their loved ones.
Is there any way that loved ones can kind of anticipate what that inflation might look like, what it might look like year to year, so that we're able to prepare on some level? Are there any markers?
Yeah, so we actually have on our website, so at carescout.com, we have a cost of care calculator where you can actually put in your zip code and you can see what that cost is for the different levels of care, whether you're looking at home health care, assisted living facilities, or full-blown skilled care. And it also takes into account that rising cost of inflation. So where care is today and where we anticipate care being in the next 20, 30, 40 years will give families a vantage point of where to start and where they potentially want to end up being. And one of the things that we offer at Care Scout is a way to help fund that through insurance. But insurance is not the only piece of the puzzle. It's also about quality. How do we want to receive our care? Where do we want to receive it from? And we really feel like at Care Scout, we're bringing a level of standards to the industry within our network that really hasn't been there in the past. So those are the other pieces of the conversation we want to bring to your viewers today.
What are those first baby steps that we should be taking?
We have the ability to have licensed nurses actually come out in person or even do something over Zoom where they can do a full assessment of your loved one to say, hey, what level of care does my loved one need at this point? Do we actually need to have someone come in, or are there other mitigants like putting in bars, putting in a walk-in shower, maybe putting in, like a home security system so that we can ensure that people are safe. Because we really know that people want to stay at home as long as possible, and that's our goal here. There definitely comes a time, and I'm in that right now, where my dad is being moved into a memory care unit, but we kept him at home as long as possible through family, through home health care. But there comes a time when that need may arise.
Corey, thanks so much for making time for us here in Atlanta. It was good to meet you.
It was very good to meet you too, Keisha. I really appreciate the time, and we're very excited that you are showcasing Care Scout on your segment today.
Thanks so much. All right, guys, that is a lot of information to take in, but you can always go to the website, right? If there's something that was said that sparked a little question in your mind, please take the opportunity to visit the website, learn more, and stay tuned to more Focus Atlanta. We'll be right back.